I'm Miriam Joy and welcome to my studio. Today we're going to be working on a 3D Halloween wreath. And we're going to start with a grapevine, a small grapevine wreath. And we're going to be working with plastic pieces. And they've got to fit within your wreath, so that's why it's real important that you need a smaller wreath or you need bigger pieces of plastic. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out two cardboard circles, and I went into my my pots and pans and stuff and found two circles, and I thought, do I need larger craft templates? We'll have to think about that so that they can hide with inside of your wreath and don't show much at all, but you want them kind of thin but thick enough that it has its support. And then the next thing I want you to do is go onto the computer and I want you to type in free Halloween silhouettes and Google that and get different shapes and sizes of Halloween patterns and print them out. This one was great for bats. It had all different sizes of bats. Here's a tree that was fun. And we're going to start thinking about layers. And we're going to be using two plastic sheets. And if you can't find your sheets, I used the page protectors because that's what I had at home. And I actually had two of those. So that was perfect. When you cut them apart, you have two pieces. So you want to think about a front and a back. And I'm going to show you what I have. This is going to be my back. And then this is going to be my front piece, and they're going to be a little bit away from each other so you get more of a three-dimensional look. So you want to think about things you want in your background. And then all I did was simply kind of know where my shape was, and I took my permanent markers and I just started to color in my silhouettes. And if you need a smaller pen for finer details, then use a smaller pen. And we just started coloring all of this in. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing that here. I colored in the front. And then, so it doesn't show through, flip it over and color the back. And then it helps it not to be transparent. Now another thing I did with my patterns, like this guy was a haunted house, and I did want the yellow. So I did the yellow first because your black is going to cover up. So I don't really care about as long as it's inside the lines. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to fill in the rest of that haunted house and the doors and everything else, the windows, and then color it in. And like bats, you have ones that are flying close, you have some that are flying farther away from you, but just to kind of see. And then remember, once you color that in good, then color it in from the back, and then that's not going to be that see-through. So start layering up. Think of different sizes and shapes that you need. Remember, we're working with kind of smaller items and everything. And so I've already glued this on, and you can see this was my page protector here onto this cardboard piece. So now I'm going to glue my second one on, and I want to kind of figure out, for some reason that one is a little bit smaller than my other one, where it should line up and go over my other one. And I'm going to lift this up and just start applying my glue. And I slid it a little bit, so I'm gonna look at it again here. And kind of get that going down a little bit. And there's all kinds of fun things you can add to this. You can add the jack-o'-lanterns, you can add the fence post, you can add ghosts, you can add graveyard, and you can freehand this. You don't have to go and look at patterns. If you're great with freehand it. That's fine too, but if you need help, then just go online and look under the free silhouettes, Halloween silhouettes, and you'll find a lot of patterns. So, and we're just gonna finish gluing this guy on. Okay. And this Halloween pumpkin, I think I'm gonna do his eyes orange in the back to give him a orange look. And see how a little bit of color is going to add to that. And you can add purple, you can add all kinds of things. Don't think just black. You want the majority of it black as a silhouette, but it doesn't all have to be black. So now that we've got that glued on to our cardboard piece, so we're going to trim this. This direction. Remember, most of your stuff is going to be closer toward you. Like the witch flying and the haunted house sitting on the hill are going to be things in my background. Now I'm going to take a grapevine wreath and I'm going to take this part off, and this opens up the wreath. There's a couple of reasons we're going to do that. And then you can move it a little bit easier. So this back part, we're going to glue on to the very back of it. We want to cover up as much of our cardboard as we possibly can. But you also see that it's not the plastic on the very back, it is the cardboard. So we want to make sure that we get that all kind of on there. And I'm actually probably going to turn my heat up on my glue gun just a little bit. And I'm going to try and figure out which direction I want this to go on to cover up as much as possible on both of my layers. And more importantly, probably what covers up this second layer. So we can kind of put that on there. So I'm going to put it in that direction. So we're going to glue this guy on first. And we're going to try and cover up all that as much as possible. Put my branches onto that layer. I'm going to hold it for just a little bit and try and cover that up as much as I can. So now we're going to come in and we're going to try and figure out where's the best place to lay the second layer. And this is where we're getting our 3D look and effect from. So you can kind of see the difference between the ones that are in front and the ones that are in back. And I tried to do this with just 2 wreaths, and it got really tall. So I decided that probably was not the best thing to do. So I'm going to try and glue this on my back first. And try and keep the spider webs out of the middle of it as much as possible. Make sure you do not get it on the plastic. It will melt your plastic. So we want to get all those kind of things out of there. Be fun getting it in here with our hands, and I'm probably going to be too cool by the time I get it here, but we'll give it a try. Okay, so we've got some of that in. And remember, you're lining up your back one as well too. So, and don't be afraid to kind of push it under some of these branches to help hold it a little bit. So I'm going to glue it to some of these branches a little bit here and there. Hold it into place as well. There's a branch right there sticking up. That's really good base for it. And then another one right here, which is really good. So just kind of get it anchored. So, and as you can see, we left these little twigs in the background here and there. It kind of helps add to the Halloween feel of it. Now this one I want to move a little bit because it's kind of just sitting in the middle. Let's just cut him. So on this one, we're going to try and wrap this one a little bit tighter now to kind of cover up our cardboard, so that it doesn't show as much. We may have to go back and anchor it somewhere or somehow, or cover it up with something too. That's alright as well. So I'm going to pull that one a little bit tighter. I'm going to start to get this anchored now. And don't be afraid to push it in. You don't want to cover up your Halloween picture. Make sure you have that showing as much as possible. Gonna get some anchoring there as well. And if it's warm, you're going to have to hold it just for a second. Now what I'm probably going to do on some of these branches that are sticking out a little bit at top, I'm probably going to cut them off and bring them in to get this up at the top right here, or vice versa, and cover up this area up here. Get some of these. Now if you've got yours covered, you don't need to do that, that's fine. And I know you can't always see real well when I'm doing this. This is a little bit harder one to show you. So hopefully we're talking you through it as much as possible as well. And I'm going to put these guys down here. And cover up those as well. Anchor those in a little bit. Okay, so we've got that pretty good, and I'm going to start putting my other decorations on, and we'll see if we need to cover that up some more or not. Okay, once you've glued everything on your plastic and got that, then let's go ahead and decorate it. I decided not to use the big skeleton. It's just out of proportion with the smaller wreath. So I put on the bow, I put 2 picks, and then I had some 3 little feather picks. So just made it real simple. My blackbird I got at the Dollar Tree, and it doesn't take away from the inside. You want to kind of keep it out of the inside. And then on this side I used my little tiny skeleton, which also came from Dollar Tree, and then I put some little spider rings on. I just cut the spider off of those. But I took my raffia bow and I walked the tails around, so this covers up my cardboard, and I had to add some more here and there to get that covered up, but I also like the different color and layer of it. I think it gave it another nice texture, and then just kind of glue that on here and there wherever you feel that it needs. And then one other thing that I did is I took my 20-minute mini lights, and these also again came from Dollar Tree, and I wanted the purple ones, and I just stuck the lights all the way around, and it kind of just covered it one time, and I just stuck them right in the middle. And we're going to plug those in for you and show you how that looks. And that just really finished it off for me. So then you have one that is kind of colored as well and gives a little bit more light and kind of just sets everything off. And I like the purple better, but you could use whatever color that you really thought that you liked. So that is the end of our little 3D Halloween wreath.